Thank you. Prime Minister Beth Rigby from Sky News. This is a question to both Prime Minister Starmer and President Zelensky, if I may. You are the coalition of the willing, but you're unable to stop President Putin without US support. How disappointing is it that President Trump won't at the moment provide long-range Tomahawk missiles? And is the President right when he says you'll hopefully be able to get the war over without them? Can you? And PM Starmer, if I may, this domestic question. Overnight you suffered a disastrous election loss in Caerphilly, a seat that's been a Labour-held seat for over a century. Was it a gut punch for you? And if you can't turn this around in the Senate elections next May, will you have to go? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Beth. Let me start with the question of Ukraine, because it is really important that we address the support that we're all able to put in, particularly as we go into the winter. And here we have the coalition of the willing. Today you had the EU yesterday, but we are all working with President Trump, and therefore we are all working as one wider coalition here in relation to the support we need to put in for Ukraine. On missiles, we've put in more missiles from the UK in recent days and weeks, and pushing the case for long range. It is really important that we do have long range, and those discussions are ongoing. And of course the protection of energy, because Putin is attacking the energy in Ukraine, and that needs protection. And we've had discussion today about how we can stop those attacks and how we can better protect those energy supplies. On the question of the US, what's happened this week is really significant. I think on the sanctions package and the bearing down on oil and gas, this week has been a very significant week because we went early with the measures that we, the UK, took. President Trump came in with really important measures that have had a real impact. And then, of course, the EU followed in with a further package of sanctions this week as well. And I think if I was to pick out one thing this week that was of most significance, it would be the combined impact of those packages. Not only because of the impact they have on the Russian economy and the pressure that they put on, but also because they demonstrate the point that whether it's the coalition of the willing, the EU or the US, we are all coordinating clearly in our efforts to support Ukraine, and effectively doing so. The other thing I would point to is the progress made on Russian assets. Yesterday the EU took a very important step forward, and there was absolute clarity in this afternoon's meeting that we need to see that progress come to fruition within a short timetable, because that would be a really material further support that we can put in for Ukraine. So when we said that the ambition really this week, if you like, is to take Russian oil and gas off the global market, we've taken a significant step forward. I would also add that the measures or the movements in position by India and China in relation to Russian energy and oil in particular are also significant. I think what you'll detect behind that is the sort of coordination and discussions that are going on, have been going on today, are going on between us pretty well all of the time, and having a very significant impact on Russia, because we must put Ukraine in the strongest position. There's going to be a hard winter, of course, particularly when it comes to protecting energy, and it is very important that whilst, of course, we want to get to a ceasefire and a lasting peace, we will, in my view, only get there if we put Ukraine in the strongest possible position. We must never lose sight of that aspect of it. I mean, I'm really pleased to see the coalition of willing so determined and united on this. Of course, to some extent, the coalition was set up to answer the question, what about security guarantees? But to see this wider coalition now working in a coordinated way, I think it really reinforces why the coalition of the willing is so important. In relation to the by-election, look, I'm deeply disappointed by the results. I'm not going to suggest otherwise. I spoke to the First Minister this morning, and clearly we need to reflect and regroup and double down on the delivery in Wales, and we clearly need to do much more. Vladimir, can I pass over to you on the first issue?
Thank you very much for the question. So, first of all, we're not finding and we're not searching the way how to stop Putin and how to finish this war without the United States. So our plan is to make strong steps together. That is the plan, by the way, of Putin. He wants to divide us, to make us weaker. And that's why I think that we have to do everything together. First, of course, pressure on Putin, but really practical. First, sanctions, and you see 19th package and oil pressure from the United States. And I think this is a very strong step. The second point is long-range pressure between us. From the very beginning, it was about our drones, our long range. Then, God bless, we had such partners like UK and France, and the partners gave us Storm Shadows and Scalps. Then, only after that, United States joined us, and we began to use ATACMS. Not big number, but in any way, it's about together. Yes, and now we count on some more strong instruments, but we will see. Yes, then about air defense. Again, it's about together decisions. We really don't have something which can destroy ballistic. That's why Americans helped us, but also Europeans, because firstly, Europe delivered Patriot systems, but United States, they did it together because United States gave licenses for this. Yes. But I hope that we will in any way we will find a way how to produce our own systems. We have to do it, and I think this is the most important thing, that politically it's very important to go together. That's what about coalition or willing, and the result at the end will be security guarantees. And again, with the security guarantees, we need to have United States. This is very important. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Volodymyr, I'm going to pass over to you to call your question, please.
Thank you so much.
Highly prepared.
Валерія Пашко, доброго дня, Суспільне.
Public Broadcaster of Ukraine. I have one question for all. It's on reparation loans. So, Mr. President, you were quite optimistic about the political decisions yesterday, but it seems not to have happened yet. What's your view on that? Is it disappointing now for you? And Prime Minister Frederiksen and Prime Minister Skov, why the Council conclusions were changed yesterday? Like the leaders didn't give the green light to the Commission to develop the legal framework for these reparation loans. What would the discussion look like yesterday? And Prime Minister Starmer, for you, is the EU could join to share this financial burden, because the EU aims to bring on board all the G7 countries? Thanks.
Yeah, I will begin. Thank you. So I think that the decision with Russian frozen assets is crucial for us, and but I think that there are three steps in this question with frozen assets. The first one is political decision, then practical decision, and then implementation. And I think that yesterday we've got political decision. That's why I think this is positive signal. Then practical decision. We hope that we can get it to the end of this year. And only after that, implementation. So that's, God bless, we can have at the very beginning of the year. But we will see. Thank you.
Meta probably makes sense.
Yes, let me be very clear. I think the idea of a so-called reparation loan is good. I haven't seen any alternative. And the idea of letting Russia pay for the damages they have done in Ukraine is the only way forward. Of course, there are some technical questions that has to be answered. There are a lot of details that we have to work on. But first and foremost, this is a political decision and a political choice. I support the idea totally. And I think we have to work in a way that we have a solution before Christmas Eve, so we are able to ensure that we can finance Ukraine for the next years. I know some colleagues find this way forward more difficult than I do, and we have to solve the problems, but I also have to say, what is the alternative? The alternative is not to let Russia win this war, and the alternative is not to ask all the Europeans to pay instead of Russia. So we need to solve the technical issues. I am sure that we will be able to do that, and then we will hopefully, I will work for that, have a decision before Christmas Eve.
Doug, did you want to?
Yeah, thank you. And of course, I fully agree with Mette. But let me just add a few points. The political decision yesterday was made, and that's very important, that we are going to financially support Ukraine in 26 and 27. And that's an important decision we made yesterday. It's important for Ukraine, it's important for the European Union, it's important for all our partners. Then the second issue is that we talked about, and I think this is an important issue. Of course, you can say it's the technical or financial, but there are risks, and we talk about mutualization of risks. And I heard a lot of countries and leaders yesterday say that they want a guarantee, and that's important because we have to share the risk, and it cannot be only put only on Belgium. And then, third of all, I hope, just as Mette said, that we come to an agreement on the technical workout of the reparation loan, because financially it's going to be important, but also politically it's important to hurt Russia, and therefore I'm much in favor. Thank you.
Just linking the two, if I may. Firstly, the political decision that was made yesterday by the EU is really significant, and we shouldn't lose that. The question of the Russian assets has always been complicated and difficult, and there's no pretending otherwise, and it is really important that the detail is worked through. I think Mette is right to say putting a timetable around that makes complete sense, but I wouldn't underestimate the significance of the move that was made yesterday, and a very high level of agreement today, but we need to make progress on that. In relation to your broader point about the UK and the EU in particular, yes, we are coordinating a lot of what we do, and that is a very good thing. It's a very good thing in the field of Ukraine. We are doing it much more broadly on defence, trade and the economy, actually. That reflects a number of things. Firstly, our shared and long-held thing that we are most effective in our support for Ukraine when we act as a group of countries, whether that's the EU and the UK working together, as we have done on most of the sanctions. It's no accident that we act at the same time. Or the wider group, the coalition of women, just to emphasise something that Robin is. It was welcome to have the new Prime Minister of Japan on board today. I think it's her first international engagement. She made a statement of principle about where she stands, and it was a very strong statement to the coalition. The fact that she chose this as her first international contribution and was so clear of how it was, I think emphasises that coalition, the ability to bring together so many countries, that was really important. So the first reason the UK and the EU working well together is because of that most effective rule. The second is, since the EU-UK reset, I am proud and pleased to say we are coordinating much more across a wider range of issues. We live in a world where there are many, many challenges, many opportunities. My strong view is that when the UK and the EU are able to work together, as we've shown we are able to, we're better able to meet those challenges. Of course, having Mark here, heading up NATO, gives you a sense of the depth of the group working together really effectively. Thank you very much. Bob, I'm going to ask you for your question.
Yes, I believe that Reuters based on that. Yes, Reuters. Reuters. Secretary General, after your talks in Washington this week, what's your impression of the chance that the US will give Tom Hanks, or is it time for other countries to step up? to Prime Minister Starmer. Why hasn't Britain signed up to NATO's proposal to buy US weapons to give to Ukraine? Is it because the Ministry of Defence is running out of money? And to President Zelensky, I know you said that you wanted everyone to move together on long-range missiles, but while you convinced President Trump to give Tomahawks, would you like European countries and Britain to do more on long-range missiles? Thank you.
Well, on your first question, when this came up in my meetings on Wednesday in the White House, I also said that it's up to each ally to decide which type of weapons they want to deliver to Ukraine. And that's really a decision by each of the individual allies. And I've also said this before, and this is not new, that Ukraine has the right, obviously, to defend itself, particularly, of course, against all the attacks by Russia. And that includes striking targets in Russia with long-range weapons. Now, when it comes to the US, let's not forget, the US is providing, as we speak, a wide range of weapons to Ukraine, including high-end weaponry like Patriot systems, HIMARS and ATACMS. What happened since July? There was a risk that somehow maybe that flow of weaponry from the US into Ukraine would somehow become a little bit smaller, that flow. But luckily, in July, the President decided, President Trump, to really open the floodgates again when it comes to lethal and non-lethal weapons into Ukraine. Crucial stuff which only the US can provide. For example, interceptors for Patriot systems, defending innocent civilians in Ukraine and protecting crucial civilian infrastructure in Ukraine. And what NATO has done with our allies, we organized the whole thing because the US said we are going to provide it but paid for by allies. So we have bundled that together. The Netherlands was so kind, maybe because I'm from the Netherlands, but they were so kind to immediately buy the first package, and then others have followed. So billions have now been committed, and the stuff is now flowing into Ukraine. Crucial gear again, which only the US at the moment can provide, because it is never, it's not in the stockpiles of Europe or wherever. So that's happening now, and we are working very hard to make sure that that flow will continue to the tune of about $1 billion or a little bit over $1 billion a month. And then on particularly the Tomahawks, of course, the President and I discussed that. The issue remains under review by the President, and again, this is up to the US to decide.
Look, in relation to the UK's position, our support for Ukraine is very clear, and it's been there from the start. And we've made a huge contribution, whether that's financial or in particular on sanctions, the work we're doing there to bear down the example I've given of what we've done just this week. Also on capability, whether that's drone co-production, which we're working on at the moment, or long range, and many other aspects of capability. And in the liaison work that we have operating with our Ukrainian colleagues. So we're very clear about the support that we're putting in. And the reason for that is not just because this is about Ukraine's freedom and sovereignty, but because it's about the freedom that we all have across Europe. This is, of course, a fight for Ukraine's future and sovereignty, but it's also a fight for Europe and for the United Kingdom. And therefore, this isn't simply an act of us working with Ukraine solely for Ukrainian benefit. We are working with Ukraine for Ukraine, of course, but also for the benefit of all the rest of us. Thank you very much. Mette, can I come to you?
I don't have any.
You don't? Okay, great. So it's a good thing Beth didn't know that to start with, otherwise she'd have definitely had another question. Dick, can I come to you first?
Yes, and the question is going to be a surprise, that's I'm sure. AMP, or in good Dutch.
Sorry, I thought it was to reply on what you were asked for. No.
My apologies.
Sorry, of course. Danmarks Radio. Yeah. No. I thought you wanted me to reply on questions for you.
I'm so sorry, Matt.
Danmarks Radio.
Yeah, apologies.
but also for you, Prime Minister Starmer. You say you want to take Russian oil and gas off the global market to put pressure on Putin. But since the beginning of the war, the EU countries alone have bought Russian energy worth more than 215 billion euros. Doesn't this proposal come 3.5 years too late? And also for you, President Zelensky, what do you think? Do you think this comes too late?
Does it come too late? Yes, it does. But it doesn't mean that we haven't done anything through this war. Also, when it comes to Russian oil and gas, we have reduced our dependencies a lot. But of course, all what we want to do is to ensure that Russia's economy is weakened, and that we put Ukraine in a strong position as possible. So I'm happy about the sanctions. I'm happy about the decisions we made only a few days ago to get totally out of Russian oil and gas. That was a very important decision. And now we simply have to continue. And I'm very pleased that for the first time we have a combined pressure on Russia between UK, between the European Union, and between US. So I think right now we are taking the right decisions. But of course, I would have hoped that Europe would have said goodbye to Russian oil and gas already years ago.
Thanks so much. Better now than never. So we are very thankful to partners, to Europe and to the United States, with sanctions on Russian energy sector. What about us? We began to fight against Russian energy with our sanctions. It was long range. We could do only this. But now it's great that we can use such instrument like sanctions. Thank you.
Just picking up on this. Look, I think it's important when we say we want to take oil and gas off the market, that we're describing an end of a process, not the beginning of a process. So this isn't the first time the coalition of willing, the EU and others have come together to take action. It's where we're getting, I hope, towards the end of the process where we will take it off the market. Therefore there's been months and years of our work actually on this. And I think it is really important that we continue to bear down. There are some countries which in my view should be moving a lot more quickly in relation to this, and obviously that's a point that we make on a regular basis. But this is a description of what I hope will be the end of the process, not the beginning of the process. Thank you very much. And Dick, can I ask you to...
Yeah, I try once again. Yes.
It's still the same question.
Yeah, it's still the same person. Lucky for me. Yes.
To Prime Minister Schoof, President Zelensky is very clearly asking for more military support, specifically long range. He hasn't been able to get that this week. The Dutch government considers itself to be a frontrunner in supporting Ukraine. Why is it so difficult to significantly increase this kind of support? And President Zelensky, do you need allies like the Netherlands to increase their support? And has this week been disappointing to you?
Well, thank you for the question. And I think it's, as you said, we are frontrunner for a long time. I think that's very important. It's something that the Prime Minister of UK just mentioned as well. I mean, we do this because we absolutely believe, of course, that we have to support Ukraine and the Ukrainian people in their fight against the aggression war of Russia. But at the same time, it's so important to support, and we must never forget, that it's also about freedom and security in Europe, and therefore also for the Netherlands. And I want to underline that again, once again, because sometimes people forget. So it's not a war far away, it's a war close by. Having said so, I think we do everything we can to support Ukraine, whatever it takes. And that also in relation to long-range weapons. Even the Dutch Parliament would agree, did agree actually, in favor in a motion in the Dutch Parliament. So I feel very comfortable in trying to work together with Vladimir and the countries, wherever they are, that want to help, and to make sure that we do everything we can. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And first of all, really, we are thankful to the Netherlands, one of the biggest donators in Europe and in the world. It's true. I think this year you donated more than 4 billion. Yes, it's a big amount, really. I understand that it's not simple, yes, for any kind of country, but really we are thankful for this. But in any way, I'm very thankful for your questions to partners.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Talk in reverse order.
Right.